Hello and welcome to Whimsical Weirdos Pod. I'm your host Amanda, and today we're talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses, the book, just the first book by Sarah J. Maas. If I said that wrong, please correct me. And just to be straight up, please don't hate me. I didn't read the actual book. I listened to the audiobook just because it's easier for me to do while I do other things for life. I don't know. But don't worry, I will be buying the series soon. I think it's pretty interesting. It's a really cool fairy fantasy romance thing going on, and I like the world building around it. So I will definitely start reading the rest of them. There's a ton, right? I saw that there's a ton of them. So yeah, I'll be delving into that world. It just might take me a while. I'm not really going to do a summary because I feel like if you're watching this, you've already read the first book. So let's just hop into it. Let's talk about Tamlin, just right off the bat, because honestly, I can do what I want, and I want to start with that. So, Tamlin. First of all, I don't really like blonde male leads, to be honest with you. And, in the beginning, before he was, captured and had to sit next to Amarentha or whatever, he was okay. I didn't understand why Feyre in the beginning was so terrified of him. I guess, yes, you're told, these things are monsters and scary and can kill you, but she was fine with Lucian, who I felt in the beginning was actually scarier than Tamlin. He was definitely he didn't like her as much, but Tamlin was the one putting in effort to help her out, but she seeked out Lucian. So it's okay. Honestly, favorite character so far in the first book has to be Lucian for me. I love him. I think he's hilarious, and I think he's a good friend. But I just didn't understand why in the beginning she was seeking out him when he just seemed more terrifying. I don't know. And I really don't like how, why he has to meet Feyre. It's just so planned and it's not, genuine. You know what I mean? He had to meet her to break the curse, get the mask off, get his power back, save his people. He had to meet some human girl to fall in love with him. And so that was the plan. It was a plan. It wasn't an authentic meeting and falling in love. He had to fall in love with her. And I thought it was weird when they were talking about at one of the, I think it was a dinner scene or something back at Tamlin's mansion, estate, whatever, where she's sitting with him and Lucian and they're talking about, oh, do you love any human men or whatever. So I didn't understand why they were asking, because it took them a while to bring up the curse and all that. But now you understand it. They have to make sure that she's not in love with anybody so she can fall in love with Tamlin. And it's just this orchestrated plan. And if I were her and I heard that, I'd just be oh, I'm just a pawn. Yes, the intentions are good, that he wants to save his people, but I would still feel betrayed and a little pawn. I guess in his defense, he did send her off, even though oh, that end was so awkward in the carriage. She's I love you, and she was it was giving Jess from New Girl when she finger gunned Nick when he told her that. That's almost exactly the scene. That's so funny. But yeah, that's what I think. I just feel it's not genuine love. It's he orchestrated this, and now she's just the perfect little pawn that helped them and actually saved them, And what do you guys think of when you think of Tamlin, actor-wise or just in general looks-wise? Because, we know he's blonde, he's got longer hair. I was thinking, I don't, okay, so don't judge me, but the first thought, because I know he's supposed to be hot. I know he is. But when I think long blonde hair, and I think, in my head, they're in olden times, right? I'm thinking Ned Stark. That was the first person to come up. I don't know why. Ned Stark. But I don't really know, who else is a cute, longer blonde-headed person. I in my head I'm thinking Brad Pitt too, from Troy. I don't know if anyone saw that. Great movie. I could see him as a young Brad Pitt with long hair, right? Because they're supposed to look super hot. I'm not the biggest Brad Pitt fan with long hair. I prefer the shorter spiky hair. Anyway, off track. Since we're on the subject of Tamlin, let's talk about the festival where he is the one who holds the pot of gold. I don't know how else to say that. But what I got was he holds all this power, and when he has sex with some lucky lady, it's released and everyone gets there. And I don't know. I was thinking about it as this giant orgy festival for fairies. Anyway, what the hell was that? I did not understand that. But I did appreciate it because we got to meet Rhys? I made a TikTok and I said his name and I called him Rhys because that's how I was saying it in my head, even though I was listening to the audiobook and they call him something else, but someone was it's pronounced Rhys. But I also saw somebody say they prefer the pronunciation Rhys, so Rysand, Rysand, Rhysand. I think it is Rhysand because I remember seeing the phonetic, I don't know, pronunciation of the name. So we'll call him Rhys to be, correct. But I don't know. I feel like I'm going to by mistake call him Rice again, and I don't know if it's because I'm hungry or because I love rice. Either way. So our first interaction with Rhys is that he's saving Feyre from like some creepos who want to have fun with a little human girl. Anyway, ew. And her description when she meets him is like, he's the most beautiful man she's ever seen, or something along the lines of that. And his description is so a main character energy. This is what I thought our main character lead would look like. He's giving like raven hair colored vampire vibes. And since we did finish the book, he gives off like Batman energy or like, the dark hair, suave. Anyway, I like the character physical description of him, and I think he was definitely helpful. Obviously, like she would never have survived. I'm surprised she did not say thank you, a couple of those times when she was in the prison. Like he really like made sure that girl lived. Obviously for his own reasons, but still. The only thing about Rhys and whatever, is that I didn't like the making her dance up on him while she was completely blacked out. And I don't know, I'm just coming at it from the real life perspective. That's wrong, but when you think about it, like he was trying to be a double agent, and so he needed her to act a certain way, and she just probably would never, ever do that sober. So she had to drink that super strong fairy wine, and she kind of used it as like a crutch, almost making her a little alcoholic to cope with her situation. But it was a tough situation, and I don't know, something towards the end of how it ended where he like looked at her in shock or something. I'm like, yeah, we're definitely gonna see him again because of like the 2 weeks or the 1 week deal they have per month. So I'm excited to see him again, but I hope that if we do, he can redeem that situation, because it just felt really uncomfortable, and she was out on display, and yeah, I didn't like that part of it, but whatever. He really moved on from being like someone like almost like, in Twilight, the Volturi, like that was the vibe I was getting from him. Like super scary, like just insane powers. He's apparently like, right hand to Amarentha, I think is how you say it. But he grows to become like not a friend, I think, but more of like a helpful acquaintance. Yes. And like I said, she owes him her life. For sure. Since I mentioned Amarantha, let's go ahead and talk about her a little bit. I have to be honest with you guys. I'm somebody who loves evil female characters, and especially when they're petty. Like Circe is top tier, number one favorite character ever. And I know she's evil, but she was consistently evil. Like the things she did, we were like, yeah, that makes sense. She would do that. Blowing up an entire building of people who talk crap about her, watched her walk down naked and threw stuff at her, and forced her to do like shave her head and all that, blew them up. Yeah, she would do that. She stood on her business, whether it was right or wrong. Okay, Amarantha, she gives off the same energy. Like, yeah, she's crazy and evil and awful, and she deserves what she got. But she was consistent, and I love that she loved her sister so much that as a payback in her head, she thought taking the sister's human lover's eye and keeping him basically forever watching and never having an end would be the perfect ending for him. I think that was on the level of evil genius brilliant, like Circe totally would. Listen, I'm not saying I like her. I'm saying I like her as an evil character, okay? Alright. But she really, does it well, okay? As far as evil goes, she is top tier. And also being rejected by Tamlin and then taking out his best friend's eye and scarring his face, then inviting them to an apology masquerade, and then being like, actually, you know what? You guys can keep those masks on for the rest of your life. That is just a petty queen. Let's be real. Maybe she is in my top character list because I just feel like she's kind of badass, okay? She's badass, evil badass, okay? When Feyre finished a trial where she stabbed Tamlin's heart and whatever, and she passed, and Amarantha was like, oh, well, you forgot this loophole, and immediately just started torturing her. I'm sorry, but I found that so funny. Like obviously the torture. I was like, oh, poor Feyre. But I was also like, of course there was a loophole. Of course Amarentha would be like, Crucio. Like, it wasn't gonna be that easy. But the fact that she just immediately was like, torture was just so funny. I don't know. Feyre gets the riddle, which, love, come on. Like, let's just do better than that. I'm not even talking about that. But anyway, she gets the riddle, and then Amarantha is like, no, and just immediately kills her. Like, immediately, like, nope, if I'm gonna die, you're gonna die. Like, that was, that was Cersei if she had powers. Amarantha, was a total evil genius towards the end. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that the character doesn't go through any, redeeming quality changes or anything. Like, we know she's a diehard for her sister. It's been like freaking 500 years, girl. Move on. She really never changed and just stood on it until the end. But we're going back to Farah's horrible family. At least in the beginning, it seems like. I hated her family. It was giving Cinderella and the evil stepsisters, but it was like the actual entire family. And it's just like she had to take care of all of them and no one appreciated anything. But when we meet back up with Nesta, she does explain like Feyre made her feel like she couldn't do anything the way Feyre does. But also Feyre was out risking her life and hunting, and then both sisters would want like dresses and shoes, and Feyre's out here like, what about some new weapons for me or boots or something so I can actually get us food and make us have some kind of living so I can sell all this stuff. And it's just like the entire family just sucks. And I understand, like, they're all going through their own thing and they fell from riches to rags, basically. And everyone, like, I would say Farah was the only one trying her best. Like, what are the other ones doing? Except I think one girl would, I think it was Nesta, would chop firewood occasionally. And no wonder when Tamlin came, like, to get her for the fake law thing, he was like, yeah, you know what? This human probably wouldn't mind if I took her back with me. Nesta has definitely grown on me since the beginning, because I hated her in the beginning. And now when we meet her again, and knowing that she remembers everything, I like her. And I hope that we see her again in the future sometime and she's doing really well for herself. It was also so strange to me that she was able to, like, see through Tamlin's glamour. Even Rhys, when he came into Tamlin's estate, Lucian was hiding Feyre with glamour, and then Rhys was there. He seemed like he was there for like at least 10 minutes or so, I don't know, but he was there for a while, and the only thing he noticed that tipped him off that there was glamour being used was he saw Feyre's dish, like the third plate setting, and that's when he was like, you tried to use glamoring on me or whatever. So even Rhys wasn't able to detect. Well, now that I think about it, maybe it's different, like physically hiding Feyre and mentally altering your mind. But still, it just seems like this ability that humans shouldn't have. And they were saying like Nesta is so stubborn or so strong-minded and set in her ways that she was able to remember everything and fight through the glamour. And it's crazy because that was like, she fought through it at that moment because she was saying that she had to watch the dad and Elaine, I think, the other sister, just talk about, oh, we just got riches, oh, Farah's out with our great aunt or whatever, and she just had to deal with it when she knew her sister was taken by a fairy and may be dead. So yeah, my respect grew for Nesta. Okay, here's like a prediction or like something I've been thinking about. So I feel like all three sisters are magical, maybe, and maybe their mom is a fairy and the dad just didn't know because he just seems kind of useless. And I completely agreed with Nesta when she was talking about when we meet her again and she's talking about the dad, and she's like, I was trying to see if he would ever step up type thing, because yeah, what the hell were you doing, sir? And I get it, like, he got his foot broken and is going through hardships, but you have three daughters and one of them is out hunting and you're just sitting there. But anyway, now let's just jump back to the courts with Rhysand. And sorry for the people viewing this on YouTube, it's just getting really dark right now, so bear with me. Feyre would never have passed those trials without Rhysand and Lucian helping her out. Like, that's insane. And Tamlin is just sitting there. He's like, the best thing I can do is not make eye contact, sit here and, pretend I don't love you. But it's like, hello, Amarentha already knows that. Like, this girl is literally, like, Why does she think Feyre's there? Feyre's literally like, I came to claim him. Of course he, like, dude, what the, but there's a few moments that Rhys, like, his cover was totally almost blown because the first second Feyre gets there and she's like being questioned by Amarentha and she sees I think it was Claire's body, the person whose name she gave Rhysand. And then they burned down her house and killed her family or whatever, and now she got tortured and is hung up dead in the court. Yeah, Amarantha questioned Rhysand and was like, I thought you said that was the girl, but now it's this one? And he's just like, oh, yeah, whatever. Human girls, they all look the same. What? And the fact that he didn't even get into Farah's mind enough to get her real name and he didn't tell Amarantha, like, that was suspicion number, like, first mistaking the girl, second not already knowing the name when he can do that mind trick was number two, and then the next one was him betting on Farah beating that, I think it was the worm one. I think it was the first trial with the crazy, I don't know, running around tapeworm thingy. And he won the bets and got all the money. And he was the only one who won money. And so that was like a third time. He was really playing with fire as this double agent and then making her be his guest and then getting caught making out with her. And we know why. He explained why he had to do that. But I was scared for him when he just kept, I don't know, doing weird things like that. Like, wouldn't that get you caught or make her suspicious of you? But I guess his help was subtle. Like, she didn't know that he was helping Farah with the challenges or anything. Like, his like eye tattoo giving her the right or wrong answer and the healing her like completely with the hand, it just feel like her arm was just detached and held by like tendons or whatever. So yeah, he definitely was more subtle than Lucian with his help. Oh my gosh, Lucian definitely, favorite character, but that guy was like shouting like behind you, or he was like he mended her but it was so obvious and no wonder he was out of commission and got beaten up and all that stuff. But both Rhys and Lucian helped her out, and Tamlin's just sitting there like, I'm doing the best I can by not looking at you. Bro, love interest wise, I am not the biggest fan of Tamlin. I think he should have done more, and I don't like when our male leads like bend to other people. Like, he bowed down to Rhys, and he just basically bows down to Amarantha by not doing anything, and he's just kind of annoying. And that scene when they're in that weird banquet hall at Amarantha's court and Feyre is alone and then Tamlin grabs her and they both start, making out and whatever, and then Rhys interrupts them and Feyre's looking at Tamlin like, are you gonna do something? And he's just there like, obeying Rhys, and it's just like not attractive in a male lead. It wasn't my favorite. So I'm like, we need like either Rhys would be a good one, but he has to redeem himself from the letting her get drunk and taking advantage of her and showing her off to everybody. Like, I didn't like that. But if he can redeem himself, or if there's another dark-haired male lead, that would be fantastic. Or Lucian. I'm good with the redheads. We could do Lucian. I was really hoping that eye in Amarantha's ring was actually Lucian's eye, so then he could have had his eye back. That would have been really nice, huh? When I think of Lucian, I think of Simba from The Lion King. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's what I think of. So take whatever you can from that. I don't know. I forgot to mention this one, but Alice, oh my gosh, I loved Alice. I thought she was the best and the sweetest, and she's just trying to take care of her two nephews, and they get a happy ending running around the spring court. So sweet. Now I'm gonna go on with predictions, and let me know if I didn't cover something important, because I feel like I had a lot of thoughts, but the book, like, there's so many things that happened. I'm like, I'm just like losing my mind. So definitely let me know if I missed something or you want to talk about it. But my predictions are, I don't think, it just doesn't feel like Tamlin and Feyre are endgame. I wonder if like Tamlin, like, he's the head of the spring court and he's like blonde. I feel like it's gonna be like an Elena Gilbert situation where she likes the kind of perfect good guy, and then because she's now, well, this isn't what happened to Elena, but since Feyre is changed into a fairy now, maybe her type is different, and it seems like Tamlin is more like he wants to keep her safe and inside and not doing crazy stuff. But she obviously like defies all of that every single time. Oh, especially like when she went to catch whatever that creature was that answers all the questions. Thank you, Lucian. So I feel like she's going to be a little bit more wild and want to see more. And now she's strong. She can defend herself. So she's definitely going to want to be more adventurous than I think he likes. Like Lucian totally trusted her and, was like, hey, yeah, go do this and I'll happen to be around if you need help and I may or may not show up. So good luck. And it worked, kind of. In a weird way. And yeah, she did end up needing saving, but now she is a fairy. So yeah, I just feel like she needs somebody more adventurous and who would trust her abilities more, I guess. Yeah. If anything, I was thinking like when we were reading about how her sisters were doing in the like present time, it's like Elaine, I think. I hope it's like Elaine or Elena. I think it's Elaine. She is like really into gardening and stuff. Maybe she'll end up with Tamlin and be like, spring, and she's like, I don't know, like a gardener, like Persephone vibes. I don't know. That seems. I just don't like our main character with Tamlin mostly because I just don't want him. I don't like him. And also, don't hate me for this, but Feyre is so not in my top three of my favorite character list. Like, I don't hate her, but she's just not in my top three. So I will say my number one is Lucian. I just think he's overall a fantastic character and really funny. And then number two, I would say I would give it to Rhys. Besides like the alcohol thing with her, I do love a double agent dark vibe character. And third, I will give to Amarentha. Is my Slytherin coming out right now? Her actions were, yes, they were shocking, but were they out of character? I don't think so. Like, her finding a loophole and then end up killing Feyre. Like, she knew that she was going to end up killing Feyre no matter what. Like, she hated her and she was just gonna do that. And I also just love her pettiness. I am here for the pettiness. And yeah, I liked her. R.I.P. Amarantha. Even though, Nesta wasn't fully in the book a lot, I did like her like growth that we saw and the honesty of, you made me feel inadequate because I couldn't take care of our family like you could. So I just like that emotional growth or like honesty from her. And then Feyre, she just makes me feel embarrassed all the time and like she's only 19. So I get it, but yeah, she just gives me so much embarrassment and I'm like, what are you doing? Why? But I don't hate her. She's an interesting main character to say the least. Let me know who's in your top three. You can reach out to me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all at Whimsical Weirdos Pod, or listen to me wherever you listen to podcasts at Whimsical Weirdos Pod. Thanks you guys so much for listening and don't forget to stay weird.